Here also you have to file the annual statement of returns and solvency, and on the basis of existence not dependent on partners. You have to, if one partner is leaving or other partner is joining, you have to give the shares, you have to give the equities to them. Foreigners are allowed here, but again they need to have one partner who is of the Indian origin. Private limited company. 90% companies, 90% of startups goes for private limited. So you have to be registered again with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs under Companies Act. Is a legal separate entity. Here you have to do board and general meetings. Everything will be the same as per the LLP. Here ownership can be transferred by the means of share transfer. If one person is leaving, he can sell their shares to someone else who is coming or who is joining. So these are some important documents. If you see, this is a certificate of incorporation of my company, Vatsalya Wellness Private Limited. This is a certification of a startup Odisha. Our company has been recognized under it. So you see, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, you have to register under this only. Every company has its own PAN card. Every company has its own GST number. You have to apply for that. So business license is coming to it. So in India, there are different industries running as per the industry standards and as per the companies and as per the nature of the business of the company or the startups, the licenses will differ. So if you are into the food business, right from आप रोड पे राजमा चावल बेच रहे हो या फिर आप पैक्ड फूड बेच रहे हो, you have to get the SSAI license, और in some cases HACCP जहाँ पे आप पैक्ड फूड्स बना रहे हो और समथिंग लाइक दैट, फूड प्रिवेंशन एक्ट वहाँ पे भी आता है. इफ यू आर इनटू द वाइन प्रोडक्शन, वाइनरी अगर आप एस्टैब्लिश कर रहे हो, तो यू विल हैव ए लिस्ट ऑफ बिजनेस लाइसेंसेस यू विल हैव टू टेक. If you are into production of, just say like tires, so you have to get the environment clearance, you have to get the OSA certification for that. If you are into health and allied, like you are making syringes, you are making cotton which will be used for surgeries or for hospitals, you have to get the health trade license. For factory, like garment factory, so you have to get registered under Factory Act 1948. So these are few business licenses you have to get it before starting any type of business, and it based on your nature of the business you are into. So taxation and accounting. Look, in India there are two type of taxes: indirect, direct. In terms of business sense I am talking about, not as an accounting student. So income tax is a direct tax. GST, excise, custom duties are the indirect tax. Again, depending upon the nature and business operations of the taxes are levied in India. So there are some tax privileges which an startups gets. Is one of that is 3 years tax holiday for DPIIT status. For that, who are registered into Startup India under Section 80, in the block of 10 years, they can allow to not to pay any kind of tax if their annual turnover is not exceeding 100 crores. Like exemption from LTCG, long-term capital gains under 54 EE, if your annual turnover is not exceeding 50 crores again. The tax exemption for the individual or Hindu undivided family for LTCG, if someone sell their products, someone sell their any asset, like मैंने कोई घर था मेरा और मैंने वो घर बेच दिया और मैं उससे किसी स्टार्टअप का इक्विटी खरीद रहा हूँ, तो I will get a tax exemption up to 50% in that case on that money. Any business whose turnover exceeds 40 lakhs is required to register under GST. The limit is 20 lakhs for the service providers, and for the GST annual return is a part of mandatory compliances. So in taxation and accounting, we can have a different decision जहाँ पे हम ये सारी चीज़ों को differently और काफ़ी on the large scale बात कर सकते हैं. Company law based compliances. In India, if you are going for private limited, it comes under Company Act 2013 as of now. So you have to file the annual general meeting report to Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You have to hold the board meeting within 30 days of the incorporation of the company. You have to appoint an auditor within 30 days of the incorporation of the company. So these things you have to do when you are going for incorporation or legal entity, being the legal entity. There are many compliances under labor laws like minimum wages, maternity leave, gratuity pay, sexual harassment. Any startup under DPIIT, again, Startup India initiative, can complete a self-declaration within 1 year from the date of incorporation in order to get an exemption from labor inspection. If you have not filed your self-declaration, then you can have the labor inspection on your production side or on a back-end side. And these are the list of the laws applicable for labor laws. The industrial dispute or the trade union, payment of gratuity, State Insurance Act, PF Act, compliances under IPR. So basic idea of any startup is to work on something like which will be innovative, which will be disrupt the market, must be driven by technology. So again, it will have some kind of intellectual property, that how they are doing it, their trade secret, their patents. So based on that, startups can leverage the scheme of a startups intellectual property protection SIPP again under DPIIT. We'll talk about it later. So there are many contractual obligations too. If you are going to start a company from a legal entity, you must have the NDA non-disclosure agreement with which will be signed with the investors, because they will again know your trade secret, with the stakeholders who will prepare the back end or the front end channels who will manage them, the employee agreement with your employees, with the freelancer if you are hiring, the founder co-founder contract between the team, and contract with the suppliers and buyers. These are few contractual obligations measure which startups should keep in the mind before going to deal with any kind of outsiders. So closing a company now, winding up, it's a very difficult call. But if a person is wanted to wind up the company, there are three best modes in India, like fast track exit mode, court or tribunal route, or voluntary closure. So fast track exit mode is one of the best. If not, if you are not filing the not filing the AGM or the board meeting reports, you will be labeled as a dormant company if you are not filing it for the period of straight 5 years, and you will be struck off from the registrar of companies ROC from your state where it has been registered. Moving up to the ethical compliances of a startup. So this is the newspaper cutting of Business Standard 28 April 2022, where Piyush Goyal said need for ethics corporate governance standards in a startup. He also said malpractices must be clipped early, otherwise it will earn a bad name for startups. We have and we have by and large been insulated by these problems. I hope these don't become the norm in the future. He was talking about the Bharat Pay, that how Sneak Grover and all the chaos happened there. So from his statement, we can understand that how unethical startups are going in India as of now even. So what are the ethical compliances? What can be done towards it? How to define the ethics? Ethical compliance is for startups like legal issues, advertising and marketing, infrastructure related zonal laws, data protection and privacy issues, protection of IPR, and ethical issues. We'll again see each of them. So legal issues, what many startups are doing, they are not taking registration under GST. They are not taking industry based licenses. They are not getting Udyog Aadhaar. Udyog Aadhaar is the Aadhaar card for your startup. And they are not into the proper legal documentation of it. And due to this, they end up paying penalties or lawsuits. So if we come to advertisement and marketing, if you remember an ad from Tanishq for inter-religion marriage or Mantra ka logo, what happened in Nestle uh, when a lady delivers her baby, the first milk is named as the colostrum, and that milk is very much important for the baby because it's the first food for that. What Nestle did, they have formulated a baby mm, product, baby feeding product, baby milk, and they told on the TV ads that it is best for, it is more better from the mother's milk too. So इंपीरियल ब्लू म्यूजिक सिटी सबको पता है कि वो किस चीज़ का ऐड है, बट वो म्यूजिक का ऐड हो रहा होता है वहाँ पे. So advertisement and marketing is very much important for any startup. We have some kind of act that we cannot advertise false claims, obscene, obscene or scandalous or seditious advertisements. Like if you are making a gun, you have a gun production unit, you cannot add it on the TV, or you cannot have the ad of wines or any alcoholic beverages. You cannot show that कि टाइड किससे बेहतर है. टाइड और जनरल वॉशिंग पाउडर में आप बता सकते हो, बट टाइड को आप सर्फ एक्सेल के साथ कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते जा करके टीवी पे. You cannot compare one product with a competitor. It must not be religion related or comparative advertising or deceptive or misleading advertising. So these are the things you must consider before posting any kind of advertisement related to your product on even any social media on or Instagram, जहाँ पे Instagram is the new way of marketing. तो वहाँ पे भी आप इस तरह का कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं. इंडियन मेडिकल काउंसिल के अपने regulations हैं. If you are into any health or allied business, you have to follow that. The Food Safety and Standard Act, if you are into agriculture or food business, you have to follow that. So in advertisement of marketing, you also have always to keep your goodwill and reputation and to grow it. Infrastructure related zonal laws. Look, India is not kind of a nation. It is like the United States of India. And in each states there are the several laws which is which has been created by that state only. Like Gujarat and Bihar is the dry state. You cannot have a winery over there. You cannot use the residential property as a commercial one. You cannot go into any kind of society and you can establish a production unit there. You cannot commercialize the use of the land of the agriculture or a school or the hospital property. So these are basic infrastructure related zonal laws which you have to follow when you are getting into uh, startup or legal. Data protection. In the digital world, privacy is a myth. Here I have written a real life example. If you go and download and log into the health card and check for some supplements, you enter your details there, and after that, next time when you open your YouTube or Google Chrome, you will get to see the ad based on what you search there. So the conclusion of this example is a startup should not access the private details of the user. But as of now, every startup kind of selling the product or selling the data of their users to whom? To Google, or to whom? To some digital giant, which will again use that data to make your personification and show you to the relevant ads. Every startup must draft a privacy policy in short, simple, and summarized manner, also in the regional languages, so that before signing into any application, user may easily read it. The startup should also disclose that how the personal information will be used or shared or sold to the third party. You must protect the data of your customer. This is the main focus point of today's world and coming future. क्योंकि फेसबुक आपके बारे में आपसे ज़्यादा जानता है. Protection of intellectual properties. Every startup have some idea, every startup work on that. So many of them have the common fear कि उनका आइडिया चोरी हो जाएगा, उनका पेटेंट कोई और यूज कर लेगा. So based on that, every startup must go for the patent filing, copywriting it, trademarking their own logo or tagline or company name, or you must have the confidentially agreement with the investor. पता चल रहा है कि आप किसी इन्वेस्टर के पास पैसा मांगने जा रहे हो और वही इन्वेस्टर उसी आइडिया पे अपना स्टार्टअप खोल के बैठ गया 1 महीने के बाद. You must have the non-disclosure agreement, confidentiality agreement with your investor, that it will be saved. So ethical issues coming towards it. So what are the ethical issues involved? The purpose of a startup is to earn profit, but while earning profit, ethics should not be ignored. So it has duty toward the customer, duty toward the employees, environment, startup, community. You have to deal with the issues with respect to the labor laws. You must not use the deceptive and inappropriate remarks. What are the duties toward the customer? For any startup, they must not get indulged in any kind of activity which may be detrimental towards their customer. They must be open to get the feedback. They must take care of the after sales service and assist their customers, because your customer will be the best advertiser for you, and without them you cannot grow at any cost. What are the duties towards the employees for any company, any startup? They must give the proper treatment, the timely salary allowances, grievance redressal scheme. There must be in any startup जहाँ पे कुछ भी हो रहा है. Let's say sexual harassment is the prevalent problem right now. So if any girl is facing in your startup, how she can reach you anytime? It should any startup should try to keep its employees motivated always, and ethically give the rights of the employees to work on the workplace without any kind of fear and without any kind of mistreatments. So if you are again any business of, let's say, paper making, you are manufacturing the paper, then you have to cut down the trees. So what's your duty towards the environment now? Like any company, take JK Papers, Built, Imami, they have to sign an agreement with the government that the number of plants, the number of trees I will be cutting, I will be planting the same number of trees in that particular financial year. So these are the duties toward the environment. And if they will not sign and if they will not do it, you can imagine the future. Within 10 years, things will be turned out. Duties toward the startup. The employees in a startup should always prioritize the interest of the startup rather than their personal interest. And it also applicable for the founders. In many cases, what happens, founders start their startup just to earn money, and that's the most wrong objective. उनके पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट हमेशा पहले होते हैं स्टार्टअप से, और ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए किसी भी हालत में। जिस दिन ऐसा हुआ, आपके स्टार्टअप का डाउनफॉल स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम दैट डे ओनली, व्हेन योर पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट इज bigger than your startup interest due to duties to other community like Snapdeal और Flipkart ने बहुत सारे विलेजेस में जा कर के वाटर इरिगेशन फैसिलिटीज को इम्प्रूव करा है। दैट काइंड दैट काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटीज लाइक सोशल कॉजेज, एजुकेशन पे काम करा, फूड पे काम करा, इन्वायरमेंटल सेफ्टी के लिए काम करा, दैट इज योर ड्यूटीज टुवर्ड्स द कम्युनिटी। Especially while advertising, you have to be very careful about the religious sentiments, issues with the respect of the labor laws. It should be wise for any startup or any other company to be well versed with the labor laws and the local laws. Like if you go to the South India and you have to advertise, or you have to hire laborers. There maybe labor laws will be different, and if you go to Delhi, there maybe labor laws will be different. On the whole, there is central labor laws, but at a state level, it again differs. The working hours, payment of wages, payment of bonus, sexual harassment at the workplace. However, in 2015, Prime Minister exempted the startups from labor inspection. But again, you have to file the self-declaration form of all the 7 and 9 labor laws we have discussed before. Use of deceptive and inappropriate marks. If you remember, 2016 में कंपनी आई थी जिसने एक मोबाइल लॉन्च करा था, फ्रीडम 251, एंड दे सेड कि ये मोबाइल 251 रुपये में ही मिलेगा आपको, एंड दे लॉन्च इट, दे ओपन अ वेबसाइट, वहाँ पे आप प्री ऑर्डर बुक कर सकते हो, प्री ऑर्डर के लिए भी पैसे सिर्फ 251 करके ऑलमोस्ट दे हैव अर्नड थाउजेंड ऑफ करोर्स दैट टाइम। एंड इतने लो कॉस्ट पे आप मोबाइल दे रहे हो और उस पर आपने लिख दिया इंडिया का मैप बना दिया उस फोन के बैक में, और ये सारी चीजें आपने कर दी। बट नाउ वेयर इट इज, वेयर आर द फाउंडर्स बिहाइंड द बार्स, एंड दैट वाज अ कंप्लीट स्कैम। तो this is the prime example of inappropriate marks. You cannot use the Indian flag on your product like that. The improper use of such marks or emblems. You cannot use the Ashok Chakra on your product. The prevention of improper use, like in title of any patent or any trademark. If you will go to register your company starting from Indian or Bharatiya, you can have many problems with that. You cannot use Indian word even, because it will again hit the nation like it is from the government side. It may not be. The startup should not try to befool the customers by using the certification marks without obtaining the certificates. Many times you can see that many startups are using the logos of USDA approved or FDA approved or 100% organic. They may or may not be. They must get the certificate before using any kind of logos of that. So this is from my side for today. We can have a session now on questions. I hope this will help you to understand the legal and ethical compliances in a better way, because I have summarized what I understood from my own work experience, my own education.
No, Paritoshi, it was brilliant and it was well summarized, well constructed presentation, and I was listening to it thoroughly. And you have covered everything, and you have tried to demonstrate and make them understand in a very simple and understandable language. So it was a wonderful session as usual, and I can see that you are a good speaker who normally delivers in a language which is very much comfortable with the students. And at the same time, you have a vast reservoir of information and knowledge which you always share with your presentation. So,
Thank you. Thank
like
you.
usual, it was a very wonderful session. It was a knowledge session very full of information, knowledge, and of course, as you have said that this is coming from your own experience. So this is something which is hands-on experience which you have shared here. So
Exactly.
anyone, any student who is interested to have his or her own startup, perhaps may understand at what a journey a startup or entrepreneur or innovator must go through if he or she wishes to be a successful entrepreneur. So
Exactly.
thank you so much, Paritosh. I can see that no one is raising hand. Perhaps there is no doubt, there is no question. Thank you so much, Paritosh,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
hope to see you soon on some other
Sure. Sure.
discussion, on some other day with some other group of
Topic.
students.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just
Thank
wrapping up here. Students, thank you so
you.
much for being such a patient listener and making this webinar a successful webinar. So thank you,
Thank
everyone. Stay happy, be blessed, and love your mom and dad. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.